First mistake guys make all the time. You talk too much about yourself. And what I mean is that you talk about all your accomplishments, you talk about, everything, your goals, your dreams and everything, but you don't you don't really ask her any questions or show her any genuine interest in who you're dating. So you don't, and you guys might even ask like yes or no kind of questions or something that's simple. What's your favorite color? Or it's something like that. Like you have to ask general, open-ended questions. Things like what makes her smile. Something like that. To ask a woman what makes her smile, and she may sit back and think because no one's really ever asked that before. And the whole point is to make yourself stand out amongst some other guys. So and you don't want to talk so much about yourself that you're not asking questions. And what you're also doing is you're dominating the conversation. You're not even allowing her to speak. This is supposed to be a date. It's supposed to be two people having a conversation and getting to know each other. But when one person is just speaking so much about themselves, they're not they're not able to learn anything from that other person. They're just talking. They're just in a stream of consciousness, just talking. And you just talking so much about yourself, you don't even know who this girl is. You don't even know what she's about. You barely know her first name. You don't know where she's from. You don't know what she likes to do, what she enjoys. You don't even know if you have good chemistry about each other. You don't even know if you have anything in common because you don't bother to ask her anything because you're so busy talking about yourself. Now, if she asks you, yes, you can take a couple minutes to answer, but don't go on and on and on for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes just talking about yourself. That's not cool. And another thing, it kind of turns women off when you just brag about yourself excessively as you're talking so much about yourself. You're bragging about your accomplishments. You're bragging about where you went to school, what you do for a living, this, that, and the third. You talking about your accomplishments, how much money you got, the ice on your chain, all this other kind of stuff. That's cool and everything, but the whole point of a first date is to get to know someone, get to know who she is, and she can learn who you are because you're talking so much about yourself that you are failing to see who she is. She is learning a lot about you. She may learn that you are a bit self-centered, that you may be a bit selfish because you don't bother to take any interest in her because you're talking so much about yourself. So, you know, don't be so much bragging excessively about yourself. Just talking about all your accomplishments and some like material possessions or whatever, what kind of car you drive, the house you live in, all this other kind of stuff. You're not being a good listener. You're not listening at all because you doing all the talking. She ain't saying a word. And when she does say a word, try not to interrupt her. Unless she's saying something very rude and disrespectful, try not to interrupt her. And if you do, just kind of apologize because you don't want to come off as rude. You don't want to come off as being disrespectful or anything like that. Again, this is a date. This is when two people are really getting to know each other. And the whole point is to have casual, respectful conversation to learn if you even want to have a second date. That's the whole point of a first date. The whole point of a first date is to learn enough about the other person that you want to learn more, that you want to have a second date, that you want to take your time, your limited time, and for men, use your resources to plan and pay for a second date. Now, what that looks like, we'll get to that in another video. But the whole point is just not talk about yourself so much that you you fail to allow her to say anything about herself. So, you know, and Another thing that turns women off a lot, this is the second point. You don't want to be too aggressive. Don't want to be too aggressive, but you don't want to be too passive either. You got to kind of have a middle ground with this. This is where a lot of guys get tripped up because women like not really aggressiveness, but assertiveness. And assertive is not aggressive. It is not passive. It's right there in the middle. So you have to learn that assertiveness. Learn to speak up for yourself if something's not right. Learn not to let something go because you may not see it as a big deal. One thing guys do all the time, they let things go that are just small little inklings of disrespect, or she may say, oh, your little job or your little car. Like, no, 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 it's something I bust my ass for. So you have to, again, be assertive, not aggressive, not passive. Be assertive. And being aggressive, you don't want to come off too strong. You don't want to come off too overwhelming. You don't want to have this overwhelming aggressiveness about you that you are just putting yourself on such a high level of her that she's not able to even speak about herself, because you're talking about all your accomplishments and everything, and you're just kind of just overwhelming her with everything. And you don't want to be so overwhelming that you're with physical touch or suggestive comments or anything like that, because again, this is the first date. You're getting to know each other. Now, it might be okay to hug or something like that, but don't go trying to touch her thighs or something, or you got to be careful with the touch barrier, because y'all don't really know each other. You may have talking on the phone, you may have text each other, but it's a whole different ball game when you two are sitting across the table from one another and you're trying to get to know each other. So you don't want to come off as being too aggressive, being too pushy, because that turns women off rip. If you're a guy out here, you're dating, you're being too pushy, that just turns women off rip. Even if she finds you attractive, even if she finds you the most sexiest guy that she's ever met, if you are being too pushy, especially when you're trying to when you're pushed into in a sexual kind of way, women that turns women off. Even if she would be willing to go back to your place and throw you them panty draws, just being too pushy just turns them off. And I know it's kind of weird because, yeah, in a woman's mind, women, they'll look at you and within the first 30 seconds or so, they'll just look you up and down, something. They will instantly think, oh, I could get with him. That's what they think. But if you're too pushy, they get turned off. I know it's kind of weird, right? So, that's why you want to be assertive, confident assertiveness, and have some intelligence with it.